Dr. Sunny. Welcome to another episode of Rise and Shine with Dr. Sunny, the show that helps you unleash your inner speaking superpowers. Each week, you get tips, tools, and techniques to help you become a better communicator. In celebration of Women's History Month, we're shining the spotlight on women speakers and authors. On this edition of Rise and Shine, author and poet Zan Johns will share her message through prose. Plus, I'll give you details on how to share your virtual message with confidence and ease when you attend my free monthly online workshop, so stay tuned. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, share in the comments below where you're watching from. And if you're listening by podcast, subscribe so you never miss a show. If you enjoy our programs, please consider making a donation of any amount at wytv7.org to help our CBN broadcasters continue their mission to bring you programming that educates, empowers, and encourages. I believe we all have a purpose and the potential to live our best life. My guest has been living her best life as a poet and best-selling author. Zan Johns is a retired human resources leader and best-selling author. Her 29-year career was spent at the University of Colorado. She's author of Poetic Forecast, a collection of insightful and inspirational poems. Her goal is to touch the world line by line through written and creative expression. Now, I know your friends call you Zan, so welcome, Zan, to the show.
Thank you. Hello, Dr. Sunny. You make me stand taller. Thanks for that wonderful introduction.
You are so welcome. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what keeps you busy during retirement.
Well, I grew up in Hammond, Louisiana, small college town. I moved to Colorado in 1975 to attend school at the University of Colorado. Went straight from classroom to the conference room and spent my entire career at the University of Colorado. I retired as the human resources leader in 2007. And since retirement, I have been enjoying my family, enjoying my friends, writing lots of poetry. And in 2020, I published my first book, as you said. And since then, I have published a second book.
You and I met and we connected during a book collaboration project through the Women's Speaker Association. Our book is called Voices of the 21st Century, Resilient Women Who Rise and Make a Difference. And our book launch with a total of 40 women was just in February. How exciting was it for you?
It was very exciting. I hope yours arrives soon.
Yes, I'm still waiting. But, you know, we both did get our cups, right? You got your cup. I got mine. Cheers. That's right.
Yes.
A toast. Yes, I love it. I love it. It helps me. I keep this on my desk. So tell me a little bit about your journey with the book project, and then we'll talk a little bit about your Poetic Forecast.
I have to talk about both of them together because one led to the other.
How did you even decide to contribute to Voices 4? This is the fourth volume.
Yes, fourth volume. In the spring, when I decided to publish Poetic Forecast, I spoke with, my family has a Zoom meeting every Sunday. And Janet Sawyer, who is also in the book, Dr. JJ, is my sister-in-law. And she, after learning that I was going to publish my poems, she said, you need to join WSA, the Women's Speakers Association, and you need to participate in the collaborative book because I don't think they've had poetry in the book before. You need to write a poem and contribute to the book. And that's how I got involved with the project.
So how did you decide to select your story? Tell us about that.
I knew that I wanted to talk about my book of poems. And so one day I was reading online news and CNN's religion editor, Daniel Burke, had written a story about, it's a heartwarming story, about a patient, a COVID-19 patient, and the housekeeper who cleaned his room, and how she had saved his life. The chaplain manager at the hospital created talking points for the hospital staff, the essential services staff, who had to enter the rooms so that they could talk to patients because their families couldn't visit. The families couldn't see them. So the housekeeper came into the retired Air Force colonel's room, and she spoke to him every day. They talked about religion, they talked about family, and he said that she saved his life. That poem, that story resonated with so much of my writing. Off the bat, what matters? Invisible Strength. There are 3 poems that I share excerpts of. Spiritual Reset. They're all related to this story. And I knew as soon as I read it that I had to retell it. I wanted to talk a little bit about myself and share that how I was raised to appreciate everyone. Everyone has value, and to retell this story so that people could see how it relates to my writing.
As a matter of fact, What Matters is featured on the dedication page of Voices of the 21st Century. How does that make you feel?
Oh my goodness. Dr. Sunny, I'm honored. When I shared that poem with Gail Watson, who is the CEO of WSA, when I shared that poem in my spotlight interview, she was speechless afterwards. When we stopped recording, she said, that poem has to be featured in our book. It has to be front of the book. And I'm honored because she, at the front of the book, she said, this poem is dedicated to resilient women everywhere. I dedicate this poem to everyone.
Wow. Please share a few verses.
I'll be glad to. The poem is What Matters. If your eyes met my eyes in the midst of a crisis, would their shape and color concern you? If you felt my hands as they massaged your aching body, would you care about the pigmentation of my skin? If I gave blood to replenish your low supply, would it matter if I looked like you? If you were drowning and I dove in to assist you, would you reach toward me if you knew I was gay? If you were hearing for the first time in your life, would you need for my voice to speak English only? If your loved one lay sick and dying, would it matter to which God I prayed? If I donated money to support your favorite cause, would you get impatient if I used my wheelchair? If the size of my heart increased each time I helped somebody, would you be more concerned about the size of my body? If you asked me to walk a mile in support of humanity, would you get impatient if I used my wheelchair? If I said no, and you assaulted me anyway, are you less guilty because I waited to report? If my family seeks asylum in the USA, are we not welcome because our border is to your south? If the police force keeps killing unarmed citizens, would you demand justice if they are African American? With civil unrest during this global pandemic, trust me, we will soon realize what matters.
Wow. Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you. And there's so much more. That obviously is so timely and relevant for the unprecedented times and uncertainty that we're living in right now. And your poem resonates with so many people. So I just want to say again, congratulations on that. Let's talk about your poetry book, Poetic Forecast, a little bit more of which includes that poem and more. And it's actually titled Poetic Forecast, Reflections on Life's Promises, Storms, and Triumphs. And I've read that this beautiful book challenges our thinking, and it demonstrates the joy of celebrating life and one's family and friends. And you say it's a spiritual journey that shines light on God's generous favor and grace in your life. So tell us more about that.
This is a collection of select poems. I've been writing poems for 45 years now. And I have to tell you, I was inspired as a freshman in college when Nikki Giovanni visited our campus. And when she read Ego Trippin', she changed my life. And of course, yes, Maya Angelou. There's so many. And what it said to me is, you too can do this. So I have all these poems, and it wasn't until the spring of 2020, when the world slowed down, that I decided, it's actually, God tapped me, tapped me and said, I've given you a gift, it's time to share it. My younger brother, Keith Varnado, also said, you need to publish your book. And I thought, okay, it's time. So I dusted them off. I purged a lot, and there were a lot of poems that initially I wasn't planning to share, but decided to include in the book because I wanted to take the reader on a journey, sort of a journey through my life. I wanted to focus on positive things that would inspire and touch other people. In the book, there are poems about grief, the pain of going through grief. There are tributes where I celebrate people who have passed on. I celebrate my family. I celebrate family of friends in the book, because that's what we need to do. We need to reach out. We need to empathize with other people. We need to share compassion, and we need to celebrate. When we celebrate other people, we celebrate ourselves. And that's what the book is about.
I totally agree. I love it when we can celebrate others. We celebrate ourselves as well. Now, I understand also that there is a book, a type of dialogue, a book club dialogue in the back of your book. What does that allow your readers to do?
Let's see. I've included 11 questions to prompt book club members so that when they read Poetic Forecast, they can go to the back of the book and look at the questions that I've suggested for discussion. And it's really exciting. I'd love to engage with some of the book clubs and talk about the book. But I believe these questions will help them get started and help them fully enjoy Poetic Forecast.
It's amazing. You never know how much your words matter, and then how much you can share just what's in your mind. You know, you take your pen and you put it to paper and you get it out in a form that not just can be shared with family members, but the world. How awesome is that?
With the world. And that's really the shift that I made in 2020, because, you know, I've held these poems close and I've shared them with family, but God said, it's time. The world needs to hear your poetry.
Love it. Leave us with some inspirational quotes or thoughts that we can also have.
My favorite quote is that I believe that every word shared is an opportunity to love. And that's what I do in my writing. Our words matter. Love matters. Silence is no longer an option. We all have to share. We've got to reach out to our neighbors, and together we will get through this.
Tell us how people can reach out to you and connect with you to get your books and your information in case they would like to be part of a book club.
Please contact me. Go to www.zanexpressions.com.
I just want to thank you. It was amazing just to meet you during this collaboration. And I feel so inspired. There are so many wonderful stories in our Voices of the first century resilient women who rise and make a difference. The title alone is amazing. What was the inspiration for the title for your book?
First of all, when I started sorting through and selected my poems, I grouped them into categories that matched the weather. The titles of the chapters are things such as sunrise and sunny and clear, partly cloudy, severe thunderstorms, rainbows, sunsets. And my husband, Jim, talks about the weather all the time. Colorado, the weather changes in Colorado constantly. So we are always tuned into the weather. And I had selected another title for the book, but one day, as I was pulling all this together, I said, Poetic Forecast. That's the title. Thank you, Jim, for that one.
Wow. Well, I just want to thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to share with us both the fact that we collaborated. This is March Women's History Month. So I wanted to celebrate women, and all this month we'll be meeting more authors. And so we got to meet you. And again, best wishes to you and your future. The forecast looks bright for you, Zan Johns. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Sunny.
That's all the time we have on this Women's History Month edition of Rise and Shine with Dr. Sunny. Again, thank you to my guest and Voices co-author Zan Johns for sharing inspiration from her book, Poetic Forecast. The forecast looks bright if you'd like some help to become a better presenter. I invite you to join my free monthly Speak and Shine workshop on Zoom. I'll help you unleash your inner speaking superpowers, some you didn't know you had. Spots are limited, and to sign up, go to my Facebook page at facebook.com/I Rise and Shine. And you can also register at my website, sunnyfridge.com. You'll also find links to all my shows and podcasts. Thanks for connecting. I'm Dr. Sunny, and remember, it's your time to rise and shine.